Patrick?
No, no.
Just weren't a good team. They had one good player, basically, in the name's escaping me right now, but it'll come back to me in a second.
Basically, you summed up every Penn State team for like the last 30 years.
And then everyone else would sit. And there was like 8 people in the band.
On average, I feel like we had like 6 people.
The 6 men.
Yeah.
179. Larry Bird, Indiana State Sycamores. They are slashing their way through the competition like Uncle Gary's Shih Tzu that time it got under his riding lawnmower.
Started out 14-0. I mean, they were ranked really, really high. I can't remember exactly how high they were ranked because I'm far too intoxicated to remember.
You know what you did. You wrecked the program.
I was terrified of mascots as a 6-year-old. That's the reason I did not form the corgi. My sister did.
Not only did he have the cardio of like a 75-year-old smoker with mesothelioma, but like he also had like a banged up that he couldn't even stand on. Like, so okay, great. Our best big man can't move.
Dayton will never be as good as Gonzaga, especially just on belief alone.
But like the push cart cabs, I think I like just got into one, like got Hooters to go and went and just rode up and down the boardwalk on one of those, like drunk as hell.
That's the most Atlantic City experience that you can have.
As always, when you drink a lot doing these on occasion, I get details. I re-listened when that episode came out. I listened to it. It's just like I remember 45% of this.
Turned down a young Durst from an autograph, and I have not forgotten about it. And he lost a fan in me at the time. So
he made an enemy that day.
That he did. That he did.
Your program is headed into shambles, and for that, I am sorry. Or rather, not sorry, but
anyways, this is an episode about TCU basketball, and we've pretty much reached the end of mine and Melissa's knowledge of TCU basketball.
Sitting there like 3 or 4 beers deep, watching Taco fall, and UCF eke out a win against Illinois State, I realized that what God wanted from me was to resurrect the NIT and to bring it back to its former glory.
He goes on an epic rant, and he says, I'm not going to go for it. They're not bad.
I fucked up.
What was that? I fucked up.
Everybody on this team that was a contributor, minus Bob Stevenson, came with Mike Anderson because he was joining Tulsa's staff, which is just awesome.
Yeah, it was like Ocean's 11 JUCO college basketball player edition. Like,
some of those games at Tom Gola would be around the 800 range, maybe like 1,000 if we're lucky.
Not the people in the pool.
Yeah, full capacity. Seeds 1,000.
Swims 50.
1952, the Dayton boys take the court at Madison Square.
It's one of the funniest things.
And also, man, cheating was just better back in the 80s.
I guess the best way to put it is they were a sleeping giant, and they were just waiting for the right spark, so to speak, to kind of awaken that giant. And I think, Dan, is it fair to say that Larry Hughes was that spark?
Well, Larry Hughes is definitely the spark, and he was probably also the giant. I mean,
and the red wine's gone. And that is 2 whole ass bottles of wine I've gone through.
Turmoil, revolt, guillotine, Robespierre, Missouri Valley Conference tournament.
he just like never really gets consistent minutes. It's the death blow. Chick-fil-A opens a franchise not too long after he graduated. He doesn't get to be the one who brings Chick-fil-A to Oregon. Nothing worked out for him.
Do you ever find yourself flapping just like mindlessly or like walking from like the shower or something like that?
You know, I recently have fallen in love with group fitness classes at my gym with weights in our hands, and it's like the same motion. And I see others struggle, okay?
Some bullshit happens, and Syracuse ties the game.
1 or 2, I'm good for the night. This is my 5th.
I think what pisses me off more about Bruce Weber right now is the fact that he's like growing out his hair in like this weird like fucking 70s pop star ass sort of way.
Don't even know. Have we finished the season? We don't want to talk about Florida State, right? Like we just don't. I don't.
We kind of just did, but
We've like gone past.
You know, Edmund Sumner just dribbling down the sideline and just kind of just like looking like a player that had a Monstar steal his talent. Like I don't know what the fuck happened. Like he just like had the soul sucked out of him.
I also greatly enjoy you guys bringing Taylor Swift into this. You think Taylor Swift, you think, oh, it's all just teenage girls. No, it's grown men.
They just do it. Like, it's not my fault. Like, shit. Like, again, you can't boil it down to just me because I'm more seen as someone who, at some points would have a chef apron on with Chef Boyardee on it and the number 0.
Where are we at with the schedule? What game are we talking about?
Connor, LSU.
Will Wade is a cheater.
Fact.
We did have our graphic get switched out for Loyola, Maryland, and a game instead of ours.
On ESPN. Yeah.
ESPN still hates us.
Dayton beats North Carolina. Like, was Dean Smith overrated in '67? Next up on First Take. Like, that's what's going on.
High school, he looked like he was 40 years old. It's it's like, oh my god, how old is this guy? And then you see him play, and it's like he's playing against children out there.
Sure, and if you haven't heard the story from a Tech fan, you're missing out because this is going to be ugly.
Oh boy.
So that's kind of the important thing to remember is that Greg Marshall fucking sucks.
This like endless sea of like 6'9", like white power forwards at UCLA that just like are just so average. Just like, God, these guys should be playing. It makes you mad as an Oregon State fan because you're like, they're taking our players. These are the guys that we get.
We could make a fun CDI run out of these guys. Yeah.
I'd rather have Dale Brown as my coach than Bobby Knight because one guy's more fun. But you won't win the national title.
But you win a wrestling match naked in a locker room.
You will totally win the naked wrestling match.
I go into like their guest room and watch. I'm watching it on this tiny, like a 20-inch TV. But I'm standing up there like Michael Scott, and I walked in
right into the wall.
Let's say it together, friends, because the Hawk
will never die. Do they win the game if they have their secret weapon from Yugoslavia?
Oh, yeah. If Renko's on the team, they win by 20, no question. And then they go and they beat North Carolina, and then they beat the Fab Five in the championship game. It's a coronation at that point, no question.
Like Dayton basketball, do you remember that one time? That should be like our slogan as a program.
It was like someone dropped a bomb from the ceiling, and it was just covered in ecstasy.